DEFRA is claiming that a reduction in Btb is due to badger culling. Results in Cornwall disprove this claim. The following data is from the government's Btb website. Freely available to view. Farms shown are either cull directors or known to be culling. Please pause the video to read any of the info or articles. In 2016, 9 years of culling began in North Cornwall, Areas 4 and 5 by KNCRS Limited. This director at Camelford had 3 further breakdowns since he started culling. After 12 years of TB, this director at St Mabon had a further 3 breakdowns. And a director near Holsworthy had an incredible 5 further breakdowns. In 2018, 6 years of culling began in East Cornwall and West Devon, Area 22 by DWCE Limited. This director at Lamerton had no TB until after culling started, then he had 5 breakdowns. Cabilla Farm at Cardenham targeted vaccinated badgers from a Cornwall Wildlife Trust nature reserve. It didn't stop them having a further 4 breakdowns. Locals reported that badgers were wiped out from a community wood at Rilla Mill. Lower Rillerton Farm has also had 4 more breakdowns. In 2019, 6 years of culling began in mid to southwest Cornwall, Area 35, by Edge Environmental Limited. This director near Lostwithiel has had 4 more breakdowns. A director at Probus had constant TB for 11 years, 5 of which he was culling. Another director on the Lizard had worse TB than before the cull. Near Wadebridge, this director had a further 3 breakdowns. With his neighbouring director even worse off with 4. Local cull organiser, Mingoose Farm, had no Btb history. That changed after 6 years of culling and he is now worse off. But what about where it all started in 2013 in Somerset, where they culled for 9 years? They must be doing better, right? HNV Associates cull director near the Quantox has had 3 breakdowns. And 2 other directors in the middle of the zone have both had 4 breakdowns each. Hardly a glowing success. These are just a few examples, but clearly shows no reduction in the incidence of Btb due to badger culling. Let's compare all of this to an unculled area in East Devon. In 2014 there were 130 herd breakdowns. But by 2017 it had dropped to 87. This was a huge 33% reduction. With no badger culling. Despite DEFRA's claims, Btb clearly fluctuates in both culled and non-culled areas for many reasons. Stating culling has reduced it is just outright lies. Indeed, in 2022, an independent peer-reviewed paper showed just that. DEFRA rebutted and discredited this paper, but later admitted to using incorrect data to do so. They still, however, insist they are right. To back down now would admit they have asked farmers to part with thousands of pounds for nothing. Before the election, Labour had called the cull ineffective. However, despite their manifesto pledge to end the cull, culling not only continued, but targets in the 3rd year of the newer Cornwall areas, 63 and 64, were actually increased. Area 63 saw a 34% increase over the 2023 minimum target. And Area 64's 2024 minimum more than doubled. And now they have admitted they don't even know how many badgers are left. So if killing thousands of healthy badgers isn't eradicating BTB, what's the answer? The main spread of BTB is by cattle-to-cattle transmission due to inadequate testing and lack of a cattle vaccine. These are the best tools to combat the disease. TB, or not TB? That's the pertinent question. Inadequate tuberculin testing can leave many infected cattle in a herd to spread disease. Any amount could be missed. In 2017, a new extremely fast and accurate test was developed, Actiphage. This article is from 2018. And in 2020, Actiphage made it onto the government-sanctioned TB Hub website. In 2021 it still sounded promising. But despite all this positive news, Actiphage has still not gained validation by the WOAH. In 2019, another test, Enfaplex, did gain WOAH validation. This article is from 2021. It can also distinguish infection from vaccination, DEFRA. But despite gaining WOAH validation, DEFRA have not sanctioned general use of this better test. Surely cattle vaccination is the logical way forward. In July 2020, DEFRA and APHA talked of a deployable vaccine by 2025. But by 2023, they were stating it would be ready in the next few years. And APHA had been developing its own DEFRA skin test. But why waste time and resources when Enfaplex is already available? The March 2025 field trial update is still saying vaccination is a few years away. The timeline is constantly slipping, certainly missing the previous 2025 target. They mention the lack of a DEFRA skin test, but Enfaplex is already WOAH validated. Even then, it still sounds uncertain. And they are still blaming lack of a DEFRA test for the delays, despite Enfaplex being available since 2019. According to TB Hub, inadequate testing and live cattle exports are holding up the vaccine. However, from May 2024, the export of live animals was banned. Also, dairy and meat products are not affected by the regulations. Aside from the WOAH, EU legislation is causing the most barriers. And without a change, it seems cattle vaccination is not even possible. So British cattle continue to be denied the best tools to fight BTB. Because of a lot of red tape. Strange how vaccines and tests can be rolled out in a few months if authorities really want to. This is even mentioned in the August 2025 Bovine TB Strategy Review update. Let's just check we've got this right. Cattle can't be vaccinated against BTB because there has to be a DEFRA skin test to satisfy WOAH regs.
Didn't the regs say it's only for live exported cattle?
Yes, but exportation of live cattle is now banned. The BCG vaccine, already used in humans and badgers for years, is now in trials with a DEFRA test that APHA decided to create.
But Enfaplex already does this, and been WOAH validated since 2019.
Whatever happens, the EU may not even consider a change to their legislation.
So where does this leave the fight against BTB?
It's almost like they don't want to get rid of it. Culling has been nothing more than a distraction to appease farmers, while the real solutions remain elusive. Even more insulting is that farmers have paid thousands to be duped. So in all this lunacy, cattle are continuing to infect each other. And this needless decimation is still happening.
Something stinks.
Stop culling badgers, start helping cattle. Now.